Welcome. This webinar will be providing information on the upcoming changes to the supply of veterinary medicines into Northern Ireland when the current Windsor Framework grace period comes to an end on the 31st of December. It will focus on the changes that are applicable to veterinary surgeons based in Northern Ireland. So you may be asking, what is changing? From the 1st of January 2026, new arrangements will be in place for veterinary medicines that are being supplied into Northern Ireland. The UK government published a policy paper on these changes earlier this year, which highlighted the upcoming changes. The following slides will provide further details on the two government schemes which are being introduced on the 1st of January and the changes to the prescribing cascade for vets in Northern Ireland. The first scheme is the Veterinary Medicine Health Situation Scheme. So what is this? The scheme is for exceptional authorisations where veterinary medicines are needed to prevent or address a particular animal or public health situation arising. The scheme is open to all operators who meet the product's specific conditions. So how will you know what products are included in the Health Situation Scheme? There will be a list of eligible authorisations published on the VMD website. The initial list is due to be published in early December. You may be wondering what products can go on the list. The product list for the Health Situation Scheme can include any type of product which is eligible for inclusion. They can be categorised as POM-V, POM-VPS or AVM-GSL. Inclusion on the list will be evidence-based on product availability and will be revised according to the changes of supply status, with products also being removed should a new equivalent authorisation be approved. Please do provide your feedback and report any supply issues via the Report a Supply Problem form that is available on the VMD website. The second scheme is known as the Veterinary Medicines Internal Market Scheme. So what exactly is this? The scheme removes the requirement for Northern Ireland-based veterinary surgeons to obtain an individual special import certificate for GB-approved veterinary medicines from Great Britain. The scheme is for GB-approved pharmaceutical products and does not cover vaccines. The scheme works in conjunction with the prescribing cascade. The veterinary prescribing cascade differs slightly for vets based in Northern Ireland as opposed to those based in Great Britain. The next three slides set out the changes to the cascade per animal type. There are differences for companion, food-producing terrestrial species and food-producing aquatic species. The flowchart indicates where the veterinary medicine health situation or internal market schemes sit in the decision tree for prescribing of medicines. The key thing to remember is that you will need to apply for a special import certificate unless the product is a GB authorisation. The next few slides detail the changes for applying the prescribing cascade for vets in Northern Ireland. The first slide is detailed for companion animals. It is worth noting that GB products now sit at the bottom of the decision tree. This slide covers food-producing terrestrial animals, and again it's noted that GB products sit at the bottom of the decision tree. And finally, food-producing aquatic animals, again the GB products are now sitting at the bottom of the decision tree. As you have seen, there are a few changes afoot and the UK government is closely monitoring the expected supply of veterinary medicines to Northern Ireland at the end of the Windsor Framework grace period and will continue to monitor and engage with industry stakeholders throughout 2026. We've conducted extensive engagement with industry ahead of the imminent changes, and our present assessment shows that in the vast majority of cases we do expect vets, farmers and pet owners to continue to have access to the medicines they need. However, there remains a risk of disruption for a small number of critical products. Should issues arise, the government is committed to ensuring Northern Ireland can access the veterinary medicines they need quickly. Vets in Northern Ireland must comply with the new EU rules from the 1st of January 2026. As mentioned earlier, the Veterinary Medicines Internal Market Scheme allows for vets to obtain GB pharmaceutical products without the need to obtain an individual import certificate, but usual patient records must be maintained and will be subject to inspections held by DAERA colleagues. The following slides have been recorded by DAERA and explain the compliance and inspection aspects for Northern Ireland veterinary practices.
And thank you for tuning into this VMD webinar, and in particular this component, where I will aim to inform you about the recommencement of the Veterinary Medicine Inspection Programme by DAERA in Northern Ireland. My name is Stephen Nixon, and I have been appointed to roll out the programme of veterinary medicine inspections through a new DAERA branch. Authorised Veterinary Medicines Inspection Branch, AVMIB or AVMIB. By way of background, I'm not a veterinary surgeon, but I have worked for DAERA, DANI and DARD for almost 35 years, the vast majority of which has been in inspection and auditing roles, either directly as an inspector or managing a team of inspectors. The overarching aim of the inspection programme is to ensure compliance with the veterinary medicine regulations. If compliance is evident at a premises or realised in a timely fashion, then all the other aims of AVMIB will fall naturally into place. These being to promote safe and effective medicine use by checking that controls are in place for a range of veterinary medicine parameters, including storage, stock control, cold chain efficacy, prescriptions, the cascade and special import certificates. Next is to protect public and animal health, which again will be through checking the recording of the use of medicines so that the public can be assured that residues are highly unlikely to get into the food they consume, and indeed that all applicable withdrawal periods are notified to livestock holders. In relation to companion animals, checks on compliance with prescribing and supply of medicines will help ensure that errors are minimised when veterinary medicines are supplied. The scope of the inspections is very wide in relation to many aspects of veterinary medicines, such as storage, prescribing and documentation which must be maintained and retained, but it does not consider the clinical reasons for the use of medicines, but simply that those reasons have been recorded. Medicines kept in vehicles also come under the scope of the inspection, and similar checks are carried out at SQP retailers for the supply of POM VPS and NFA VPS medicines at those premises. It is proposed to recommence the inspection programme in January 2026. Any businesses due to be inspected will be contacted around 4 weeks in advance, which will give the businesses time to consider their current practices and the documentation to ensure that it is up to date with the VAMR and compliant. When each business is contacted to schedule their inspection, DAERA will aim to respond to queries which staff may have. Indeed, a dedicated mailbox has been set up, vet.med.inspections@daera-ni.gov.uk, to which queries can be sent and a timely response given. The objective is not to catch people out, but if there are non-compliances identified, for businesses to work towards compliance within reasonable timeframes. As previously mentioned, the inspection covers a broad range of veterinary medicine controls. These include proper medicine storage, including cleanliness, temperature management, both cold chain and ambient monitoring, record management, which underpins all aspects of veterinary medicine inspection process. Detailed records need to be maintained on stock control, prescribing, and the supply and use of medicines, and that staff have a clear understanding of what checks need to be carried out and what information needs to be recorded and maintained. Controlled drugs are considered in detail in the inspection, and controlled drugs which are Schedule 2 and indeed some Schedule 3s, which must be securely stored in a suitable lockable cabinet with controlled and recorded access. Records which are contemporaneous, accurate and attributable need to be maintained and include any wastage and disposed amounts of controlled drugs. Disposal of controlled drugs requires specific approaches to be followed, including suitable denaturation, which is independently witnessed by an authorised person and recorded in detail. The requirements in relation to prescriptions are extensive, and indeed there's a long list of statutory information which must be included when veterinary medicines are prescribed. Many of these are listed in the next slide in the form of a checklist, but these include the labelling of medicines, which should be clear and precise for the animals to be treated, with a dose, special instructions and applicable warnings included. Cross-checking by staff handing over or dispatching the medicine at a key level of control. The underpinning purpose is that the use of veterinary medicines will do good and certainly not cause harm, and hence all the checks and controls in prescribing and dispensing medicines to ensure that the right medicine at the right dose goes to the right animal. And this is just the slide showing the checklist, with many of the elements needed for a compliant prescription. So feel free to pause the webinar just to review it if you wish in some more detail. Detailed statutory checks on the use of the cascade are included in the inspection programme. The purpose of this cascade is to open up options for accessing more veterinary medicines, or indeed more medicines, to better treat animals needing care. But there are legal parameters within which this can be achieved, and maintaining accurate records on professional justifications underpins this. VMD have provided detailed guidance on the use of the cascade, particularly in relation to the situation post 1st of January 2026, and I will not elaborate any further on that now. The last handful of slides now outline how Authorised Veterinary Medicines Inspection Branch plan to deliver the inspection programme over the coming months and indeed years. DAERA have developed a veterinary medicine inspection app with the assistance of VMD colleagues, and this provides clear parameters for the scope of each inspection, and depending on the activities carried out on each site, the app will guide what needs to be assessed. There's a clear chain of responsibility within DAERA for our work and close engagement with policy and VMD colleagues to seek to keep pace with any policy developments. The AVME app will help ensure a consistent approach to all inspections, and that proportionate actions are taken depending on the extent of any non-compliance which may be identified. A risk-based approach is factored in following the first inspection at each premises upon recommencement of the programme. This will also help ensure that sufficient and suitable resources are applied to the inspection function. Over the coming months and years, we are committed to ensuring that capable staff are appointed and trained to deliver the work of AVMIP to a high standard. In delivering the work of the branch, DAERA will seek regular stakeholder engagement going forward. And in terms of the rollout of the recommenced inspection programme, the use of webinars such as this, social media and direct telephone contact will help inform stakeholders about it. In engaging with veterinary practices stakeholders, we will do so in an open and transparent manner, as indicated, engaging directly before inspections actually take place. We will also welcome and take on board verified feedback from stakeholders. Should enforcement action be required as a result of serious or persistent non-compliance, this will be conducted in a transparent and effective manner which stands up to external scrutiny. Authorised Veterinary Medicine Branch is probably one of the youngest branches in DAERA, but we're determined to build an array of good practice to build a high-quality inspection programme for which improvements will be sought and incorporated to maintain a focus on promoting animal medicine integrity, animal welfare and human health. Thank you very much for your time and interest in listening to this webinar.
The VMD have published lots of useful information and guidance covering everything I've mentioned in today's webinar. Please visit the VMD Information Hub on gov.uk, where you will find links to all guidance and communications on current and future regulatory changes regarding the supply of veterinary medicines to Northern Ireland. If you have any further questions, please do not hesitate to contact the team using the address on the screen.